So Trump is now officially hitting the battleground states as Harris sees boost after the DNC. Let's take a look at what's going on. Obviously, there's constant polls coming out. We got 70 days until D-Day, okay? Or E-Day, Election Day, 70 days out. A lot can change in 70 days, but we are going to be looking at the polls, obviously. Let's take a look.
The race for the White House as the Trump team packs its schedule with events in battleground states and Vice President Harris enjoying a post-convention boost along with a healthy war chest, raising more than $500 million in just over a month. Selena Wang is at the White House now with the latest. Good morning, Selena.
Good morning, Gio. In just over a month, Vice President Harris has completely upended this election. She's gaining ground over Donald Trump in the polls and in her fundraising. To counter her rise, Donald Trump is stepping up his campaigning, blitzing through battleground states this week. This morning, Donald Trump preparing to storm the battleground states that will decide this election. The former president struggling to define his opponent, rallying supporters later today in Michigan before hitting Wisconsin and Pennsylvania later this week, hoping his new endorsement from independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will give him a boost, with Vice President Harris erasing his lead in the polls.
He has a lot of votes that he could have gotten. I think he's going to have a huge influence.
The former Democrat now suspending his campaign that was in part fueled by conspiracy theories around vaccines and COVID.
We talked about not about the things that separate us because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together.
Trump.
Bro, this dude literally called him a sociopath like a month ago, okay, on television. RFK is such a deeply unserious person. I think it's hilarious. I love him. Isn't suspending your campaign in exchange for a cabinet position a crime? No, dude, it is not a crime. Why do people think this is a crime? I'm so shocked that people... Like, no, it is not a crime. Are you guys like not American or something? Like, what the fuck's going on? It's how things work in the primaries, especially. Like, it happens all the time. The things that sound illegal but aren't for 500. I don't really know. I don't really know. Does it even sound illegal? Maybe my brain is like so broken from covering American politics. Did you know RFK's son is a HasanAbi head? I do. I did know that. Yes. I was shocked to find out. Yes, Donald Trump can announce whom he would appoint. Dylan Matthews of Vox, among others, has suggested it might be illegal for Trump to announce his would-be cabinet. Trump can rest easy. He can announce his choices, and there's no good legal argument otherwise. I've never heard of someone applying this statute seriously to any kind of candidate whatsoever. Like, there's a shit ton of weird laws out there, man. Not all of them are applied evenly. Not all of them are applied at all, as a matter of fact. This is one of those things where it's like, I don't think people apply this at all. People don't consider this at all. I don't know if you know this, but like, historically speaking, people have routinely dropped out in an effort to get quid pro quo cabinet positions. Pete Buttigieg, for example, transportation secretary, straight up got that job because he dropped out. I'm like, I didn't even know this law existed, but I don't think this is a thing that has ever been applied. Liberal media and libbed up courts that hate our beautiful president, who is still the current president and will be running for his third term now, our shadow president with his shadow cabinet. They want to take him out. They want to take him out because he's standing in the way of all of those who want the corporate tax rate to be even lowered, for all of those who want the top marginal tax rate to be even lowered because it's far too high, okay? People like myself, that is. They might come after him because the deep state's coming after him because he's standing in the way, right? They might try to like get super libbed up and use this for the first time ever. I think it's a mistake. They probably should let this one go, considering that it will only reaffirm that people are unjustifiably tackling this issue when there is a million overt displays of the same exact quid pro quo type shit happening on the Democratic Party as well, and also American political history. So, you know, it's dumb. All right, let's continue.
Ramping up his campaigning to counter Harris's rise, her campaign reporting they've raised more than $500 million in just over a month, with the most donations pouring in the hour after her acceptance speech at the Democratic National Convention on Thursday night. Harris striking a moderate tone, trying to appeal to independents.
I will never waver in defense of America's security and ideals, because in the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand and I know where the United States belongs.
God damn.
As part of his new offensive, Trump trying to strike a new tone on one of his biggest vulnerabilities, abortion, writing over the weekend that his administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. This after months of boasting that his picks to the Supreme Court helped overturn Roe v. Wade. His running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, now committing that Trump would not sign a federal abortion ban, something Trump has repeatedly waffled on.
Would he veto it?
I think he'd be very clear he would not support it. I mean, he said that explicitly. Yeah, I mean, if you're not supporting it as the President of the United States, you fundamentally have to veto it.
So he would veto a federal abortion ban?
I think he would.
In response, the Harris campaign says the women of America cannot trust what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance say because they've already seen what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have done.
I mean, how is this any different than literally Democrats saying that, like, this is, oh my God, this is the perfect mirror image of the Democrats trying to retriangulate their positions on immigration by capitulating to right-wing framing and pushing for a right-wing border bill. This is the exact same thing playing out on the issue of immigration. It's literally the flip-flop. No Republicans believe that like Democrats are actually going to control immigration, just like no Democrats believe that Republicans are going to be less restrictive on abortion. Like, they own it. That's their problem. They did that shit. So it doesn't make any fucking sense that they actively try to change the dynamic. Abortion is more of an ingrained issue in GOP politics than immigration is in Dem politics. I don't think you ever talked to Republicans in the way that they analyze the Democratic Party on immigration. It's been a wish-wash since forever. Not in the way that most Americans analyze it. Like, even in the last election cycle, like, think about it, dude. Last election cycle, Democrats were pro-immigration. That was in 2020. It wasn't that long ago. It's crazy.
Trump ripped away women's freedoms in all 50 states by overturning Roe.
Harris is also getting back on the trail this week with a bus tour through battleground Georgia, but she's also focused on debate preparation ahead of her first face-off with Donald Trump on ABC News on September 10th. Sade?
Okay, so just over 2 weeks.
This is devastating. Donald Trump's campaign is casting doubt on whether or not there is going to be a September debate. I'm actually kind of upset. If Trump does this, he is washed, brother.
We accepted the ABC debate under the exact same terms as the CNN debate. The Harris camp, after having already agreed to the CNN rules, asked for a seated debate with notes and opening statements. Of course, I'll have Priscilla fact check some of that. And then he added, we said no changes to the agreed upon rules. Now, all of this also comes, I'd like to note, as the former president himself kind of posted on social media yesterday, throwing doubt into whether or not he may actually try to pull out of this debate. He wrote, quote, "Why would I do the debate against Kamala Harris on that network?" He said that as he continued to, he said he was watching the Sunday show yesterday on ABC, was slamming some of the key people at the network. So all of this kind of throwing questions into what exactly is this ABC debate going to look like. But I do just want to add, Omar, that, this isn't entirely surprising.
Harris' team thinks Trump's people haven't told him about the hot mic dispute. Scott MacFarlane, CBS's news congressional correspondent, says, new VP Harris campaign statement about whether there should be a mute button at the September 10th presidential debate. We have told ABC and other networks seeking to host a possible October debate that we believe both candidates' mics should be live throughout the full broadcast. Our understanding is that Trump's handlers prefer the muted microphone because they don't think their candidate can act presidential for 90 minutes on his own. They're not wrong. Remember what I told you on the last debate? I told you, no, muted isn't better for Harris. Fuck no. I'm telling you right now. No, it's because when the last time Joe Biden and Trump went toe-to-toe, they didn't have muted mics. And hot mic was really bad for Trump because he just kept talking over and it looked ridiculous. It kind of at certain points looked like he was being so aggressive to an old man. The reality is, in an unmuted mic situation, like either way, it doesn't matter. Either way, it doesn't matter, but a muted mic makes him seem more professional. An unmuted mic with a hot mic will absolutely make him look unhinged and probably racist too. If he has unmuted hot mic moments where he just like slips up and just says something so unhinged because like Kamala Harris triggers him, that will play very poorly. Because remember, one of Trump's biggest weaknesses is that he is demonstrably engaging in a clown show every time. Now that works well in his rallies, but those guys are obviously not enough to win a general election. He needs to pick up people, or he needs to instill confidence that this is a different Trump. He hasn't done that so far, but a lot of people are going to watch him at this debate. There will be more than 50 million people watching this upcoming debate. It's a massive moment for Donald Trump to change the dynamic. If he is unmuted, he could basically prove once again that he is unchanged and that he is absolutely nutty. That he is still the very same chaotic person that people don't like. If he comes across as racist, for example, in that conversation, when like Kamala Harris is like saying something and then he cuts in and like disputes whether she's really a black woman or not, or something even worse than that, who knows? That would genuinely be harmful for his for any number of different ways in which they're trying to appeal and trying to like piece back for like Republicans that used to vote for Donald Trump in the suburbs that now think he's weird and gross. Trump is going to say the N-word before this election is over. You mean nuclear? If he follows her around like he did Hillary, it's over. So that's the thing. Trump was able to dunk on Hillary because Hillary was genuinely less likable than Kamala Harris, because Hillary Clinton is, Epstein affiliate, representation of the old guard. Donald Trump was an anti-establishment candidate with more moderate positions on war and didn't have a lot of the baggage that like other Republicans did. Hillary Clinton was hated and despised for years and years before she even got to that point. Whereas Kamala Harris is not. And there is not a lot of time to build enough oppo on Kamala Harris. Not to mention the Clintons created the Rust Belt with NAFTA. Yeah. Anti-establishment law, chat. I'm not saying Trump is actually anti-establishment. That would be fucking delusional. I'm simply stating that he presented himself as such, and there's a lot of staying power to that, even nowadays, with the unaffiliated, uninitiated. People like Theo Vaughn, for example, still think like, oh, well, you know, you're not a part of the establishment, sir. They still say shit like that. Our understanding is that Trump's handlers prefer the muted microphone because they don't think their candidate can act president for 90 minutes on his own. We suspect Trump's team has not even told their boss about this dispute because it would be too embarrassing to admit. They don't think he can handle himself against Vice President Harris without the benefit of a mute button. This is actually pretty solid. Like this is cutting in a way that will piss off Donald Trump. I can't believe that this is what the election cycle has come to, which is like appealing to the thin-skinned narcissistic tendencies of one candidate over the other. But it's a solid play, in my opinion. And I do like they're belittling him. They're poking the bear. They're baiting him. It's basically akin to the crowd size conversation, right? It's like, obviously, who gives a shit? But there is one guy who does, and one guy who won't let it go, and one guy who will actually consistently talk about crowd sizes. You get him talking, and he takes himself down, basically. Yeah. The Kamala Harris campaign belittling Trump in ways that Trump cares about. If they call him an authoritarian or a dictator, that doesn't, like, he doesn't give a shit about that. His base doesn't give a shit about that. That's not going to move the needle because that, like, presenting him as a scary person, it plays well to certain aspects of the base, like the broader electorate, but portraying him as a scary person is something that he takes advantage of. He wants to be a scary person. He wants to make the libs be fearful of him. That negatively polarizes a lot of people who also hate liberals to go and say, well, I like that. But when you actually when you actually humiliate him, you deflate him. When his ego takes a hit, that's something he cares about. And you end up handicapping his campaign because instead of fucking talking about the border, he starts talking about crowd sizes. Here's Donald Trump talking about the hot mics, the muted mics during the debate.
Would you want the microphones muted in the debate whenever you're not speaking?
Bro, he looks so skinny. It's like creeping me out. He's starting to look like a different person, dude.
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine.
He's starting to look hot. He's starting to look kind of sexy, dude.
I mean, ask Biden how it.
If it doesn't matter, then why don't you just go along with it?
And I think it should be the same. We agreed to the same rules. Same rules and same specifications. And I think that's probably what it should be. But they're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
He says he doesn't like that the mics were muted, but he's also saying he wants to keep to that. That's great. If you want the debate and she's trying to get out of it, then just, yeah, who gives a fuck? You're saying that you don't give a shit. You're saying you don't care if the mics are muted or not. Okay, great. Pop off then.
Harris campaign wanted the two candidates to be seated and for there to be notes. They say that is not the case. And while they are open to having opening statements, that is not something that they are insisting on. Again, the bottom line here.
They need the mute. I don't care if they have the mute. I don't care if they don't have the mute. Okay. I genuinely don't give a shit. I need you guys to understand something. I don't care if there's a mute, unmute situation. I want this debate to happen. If either side fucks up the bag in this circumstance, I will lose my fucking mind. Okay. This debate has to happen. It is going to be endless content. And it is something that, like, I think if you care about this sort of thing, improve your candidate's chances. You might be a massive Trump supporter. I'm telling you right now, you want your candidate to fucking own the other side, right? Just like how you felt. Remember how you felt when Donald Trump owned Hillary Clinton over and over again in the debates? Imagine how glorious that was. You can get that again. If you're a Kamala Harris supporter, if you're Brad Summer, sick it will be if the prosecutor fucking goes ultra instinct on the convict, okay? On the felon. They already took away the Georgia trial from us. I know that was going to be months and months and months of content. I'm already fucking pissed off about that. They cannot do this. They cannot do this to us.
Donald Trump and Kamala Harris had both agreed to a debate on ABC News on September 10th. That's just 2 weeks away. But now Trump is giving an impression he may have changed his mind. In a post on Truth Social on Sunday, Trump attacked ABC News for a segment he didn't like and asked, quote, why would I do the debate against Kamala Harris on that network?
It does seem like he's fucking running away, dude. It does seem like he's running the fuck away. Okay. Very odd. This is unlike him. I don't think this right here, this flailing, this actually is poison for his base even because his base wants him to be a strong fighter. His base wants him to be a strong fighter. His base wants him to call Kamala Harris, slurs. So not only are you failing to pick up any kind of people that you lost, okay, from 2016 to 2020, but you're also going to hemorrhage a piece of your base that likes the juice and likes the content, okay? No, his base don't care, no. His base obviously is cult-like, and they will go wherever he goes. But there are still people in his base that are like, yeah, I like that he's a fighter. This causes them feel a little bit embarrassed. This causes them to feel like he's no longer got the juice and the sauce. If you're a strong man and your charisma is what is keeping so many people motivated and voting for you, this is going to cut away at the enthusiasm, especially when people start fucking chirping about how scared he is. This gives a wonderful opportunity to every Democrat to be like, yo, where's your fucking scaredy cat ass president? I thought he was a big baller.